Right, so this time up I'm going back to a job that I previously had a look at, and that's the engine steady bar and the bushes in that bar designed to stop the engine having excess movement. The bushes are completely shot. The engine, you know, has got a good rattle and shake on it that needs eliminating. However, the main bolt that locates the steady arm onto the bulkhead is, as per everything on the Mini, absolutely rotten and has become one with the universe of rust. So not a simple job, because of course I'm gonna have to drill the bolt out rather than just kind of, you know, spanner job. So no, it's not that simple. So I'm going to get the big drills out, get the angle grinders out, get whatever I can in to get that bolt out, and then I can replace the bushes and get the engine planted a little bit more firmly in the engine bay than it is currently. So that's the task this time. Okay, so to remind ourselves of what the issue is, just have a quick look at the problem. Okay, so this is where the engine steady attaches onto the engine block, and if you watch around this area now, you can see there how much movement the whole engine's got. It should be nice and steady, whereas actually the whole thing's rocking and rolling. So it's attached here, and then it's attached here, and this is where the problem is. This nut and bolt has just become one with the bulkhead, so I'm going to have to drill through that and knock it out. There's no way I can get that undone. So right, so we're going to try and drill it out first. As you can see, access is really poor. I can't get in with an angle grinder, so what I may have to do is just undo this vacuum servo takeoff off the inlet manifold, move this fuel overflow pipe from the carb just to let me get access there with the drill. Let's have a see whether we can make some inroads onto the head of that bolt. Right, so just get this vacuum bolt undone, and then we can move that out of the way, and the overflow pipe off the carb. So I've got a little bit better access now down into there. Right, let's get a centre punch in it. Right, let's see if we can't do a bit of drilling and get rid of this. Okay, so we've got a pilot hole drilled into the head. Now we'll go in with a bigger beast. Just got to be careful that I just drill the head of the bolt and I don't go drilling the bracketry that secures it to the bulkhead firewall. Okay, I'm going to have a try with the step drill, see whether that can remove a little bit more of it. Aha! There she blows. Got ya. There we go. The head of the nut is gone. Right, let's get that punched out. I don't know how I ever managed without one of these little basics off Amazon, a set of punches, but really handy. So I'll take that one and let's get this bolt driven out. And there she goes. Right, so let's get this tie rod off now. Right, so I've got two 1/2 inch bolts, one there, holding the other end of the engine steady bar onto the block. So 1/2 inch, let's get them off. So I've removed the first bolt here, and particular to the RSP, there's this pipe that's also secured onto that connection. I don't know what it's called. I think I call it a sniffer pipe, because it's a pipe that runs off the exhaust before the cat, which allows you to get a CO meter reading to tune the carburettor before the catalyst. So, and again, I think that's a unique feature to the Mini Cooper RSP. So that connects to the steady bar bracket at the front end. So just for note to self, there's the bolt now coming out, and attached to it is an earth strap that's already looking very second hand. Right, so we've got the engine steady bar removed at the bulkhead end, and now it's removed at the block end. So let's just wiggle that engine steady out. So I'm just finding this job easier with a little pry bar around the back of it, just to get it out. There we go. Right, there we have it. On decidedly second hand looking engine steady bar. Right, let's get it on the bench and get these bushes replaced. Right, so this is what's come off, and just look at that. So that's absolutely destroyed. So that's why the engine was rocking and rolling all around the engine bay. So that just crumbled. This side's a little bit more intact. Right, okay, so let's get this reassembled and back on. Lick of paint now on the steady bar. We're going to swap out this grotty old earth strap for a new one. That's the old pinch bolt that we drilled out with a new one, and these are the remnants of what we're replacing those rubber bushes with. Right, so there are several different types of bushes that you can purchase to do this job, and I've purchased these that's got the rubber. It's a standard rubber bush with a plastic insert that goes inside, and then as that is tightened up by the bolt, it expands the rubber bush to make it tight. Now if you see here, when you put these bushes in, they're massively bigger, and that's supposed to compress and and become tight as you wind it in, but I'm not sure that's going to go inside the gap in the bracket in the bulkhead being that big, because if you look at the new one and then you look at the original, they're a good 1/8 of an inch longer, so it's not a like for like swap, and I'm not convinced I shouldn't have bought the all-in-one bush which went on to the minis from I think 96 onwards. But we'll try and get those on if we can. But as you can see, that's the steel bush out of the original one, and straight away the hole in those bushes is an interference fit already, so that's going to be a nightmare to try and screw that through that plastic collar and then try and get that thread lined up with the thread that's in the block to tighten up. That needs to just push straight through there, so I'm a bit unconvinced about this kit myself, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so yet another issue. My fears were correct. You can see these two bushes, they're too long when put together. There's no way that can be compressed enough to get it inside the bracket on the bulkhead. I might be able to compress this at the block end, but they're just too long, so I'm going to have to trim that bush down, unfortunately. So it's just some feedback on Mini Spurs bushes. Right, so there we are now. Those shoulders are sitting correctly in that space, and that has necessitated cutting down the top hat, the collar. They're just too long, so that will now go in. So I'll do the same with the other end, and then we can get it on. Yep, so that bush needs 1/4 of an inch trimming off that depth, and I found it's easiest to do it with a pair of tin snips, because it's quite tough rubber. That's what I've just snipped off to make it fit. So what I think I'll do, I'll get this on, but conscious if I'm ever in the engine bay again, I will replace these with either race poly bushes or the all-in-one bush that will be made to a better tolerance than these are, I think. Right, so bushes in and trimmed. So I found best method of getting that in is just getting a jemmy bar, crowbar, lever it against the exhaust and just wiggle that into position as best one can. So after much cajoling, managed to get the front end in, and the back is lined up at that hole. I cannot get to a line. I need to put pressure that way with a crowbar and pressure that way with a crowbar. So whilst I'm doing lever in 2 directions, I need a third hand to drop the bolt in the hole. So I'm going to have to wait till later, until I've got a bit of assistance to clear that one off. Right, so the tightening of the bolt underneath that necessitates, and there she is, all tightened up with a new earth strap. Right, so we're all rebushed. Now let's see what the difference is if I give this engine a wobble. That's absolutely nice and solid, much better. Now that's a vast improvement. So hopefully all those vibrations that we're getting through the engine movement are now cured, and that's another job ticked off. So that's another job done on the Mini, and yet again it's another job that has took way longer than I first thought. That job has took me 4 hours plus, a job that I would have thought would have been done in 30 minutes, but clearly not. That is the way with this Mini. On reflection of that job, certainly I think, from my experience, those the bushes and the inserts for the steady arm were just, you know, not right. The top hat rubber bushes were far too long. You could not put those bushes into that steady bracket and get that between the brackets on the bulkhead. They were just sticking out too far, and there's no way that you could manipulate them to get them in. I ended up, as you saw there, with a pair of tin snips, cutting those rubber top hat bushes down to get them to fit. And equally, the plastic inserts, the bore in that insert was too small. The bolt could not pass through that without either, you know, hitting it with a hammer or cutting a thread, which was no good when you need that bolt to pass through the middle of that insert to pick up the thread on the block. So again, you know, I found that difficult. I'll put the code of the top hat bushes that I bought on reflection. Next time I will probably replace those with either the later one-piece rubber bush, or go for one of the race spec bushes, which would be an upgrade and no doubt would be made to better tolerances to fit. So that's kind of my reflection on the work. But all in all, another job done. And that really now is kind of brought it to the end, really, of the mechanical bits that I need to get this Mini on the road. All the other jobs now, apart from new tyres, is bodywork. So that's for the future. So onwards and upwards.